Hey all. Surfing through isolated tracks on YouTube, I found I Me Mine, which is a great tune. One of George's best. Although, let's get this out of the way at the front end. Paul really could have claimed a co-writing credit on I Me Mine, just like he could have on something. Because if you listen to the outtakes, the bootleg outtakes of the Let It Be / Get Back, album sessions, the whole that was all Paul. He said, hey, you know what you could do? You can go into a rock and roll boogie woogie part. So it changed it from the waltz timing of the verses that George had, and then rock it up, and then go back into waltz. I mean, that's not just arranging, that's co-writing. Same thing with something. Paul could have gotten a co-writing, even on the lyric of that. And if you listen to the outtakes, you can hear it. When George is like, he said to John and Paul, this is a fascinating thing. We're taking a little sidetrack here. They're doing something, and George is saying something, the way she moves attracts me, da, 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 and he couldn't get that line. He's like, what is it? What is it? And he's asking John and Paul for help. And John's like, forget what it is. Don't worry about that. Keep moving. Just say, attracts me like a screwdriver. Just throw in some syllables and go back to it later. It'll come to you. Just don't get bogged down on it. So he's asking them for help and stuff on it. But the interesting thing is the I don't know. That was the lyric. Like John was telling him, if you don't know, just sing I don't know. So he couldn't come up with the line. So when they're running through it, George is singing I don't know, because he was going to fill those lyrics in later. And that ended up, you're asking me, I don't know. He came up with a line that worked for the I don't know part. So that's what you hear on the finish. But it's just fascinating to hear the creative process. You literally can hear them writing, and George asking for John and Paul's help to finish off what I think is one of the greatest pop songs ever written. So at any rate, it was at that point where they were sort of supposedly all hitting each other's guts, and they kind of were at that point. But they still were collaborating. George was still, it wasn't until at the point where he wouldn't ask John, because George and the breakup was really down to George and John not getting along, not John and Paul getting along. So it's a fascinating thing to listen to, but you can hear a lot of the stuff on the bootleg outtakes. So so the intro goes 2.5 minutes into it. A minor to A minor 7 to D, G, E major to A minor. All through the day. I like halfway through that. I like to hit the bass note on that D chord. So A to A minor 7, D, G, minor, Now you can hear on the isolated track, instead of going, I think one guitar does that, but there's definitely one, the electric and an acoustic are going. So that's break it into pieces, and it's easy. Starting on 3 on the low E, 7, end up on the A at 5, and then do the same thing on the E string, starting up here at 7, end up on the D at 9. So that's the D string at 7. And then follow the fret markers on the A string starting at 7. 7, 5, 3, 5, 7. Just walks it down and back up. I think that's going on. And this. I think those are both happening. And then you get D minor. Alright, we're at that part. So D minor. So on the D string, here's what you're going to be doing in this part. You're just walking up the D string like that. With a couple of little stabs in between, which you can really hear on the isolated track. Hard to hear it on the finished mix of the song, but you can sort of hear it on this. So it's D minor. So just take a D minor, take your finger that's on the G string at the 2nd fret and move it to the D string at the 2nd fret. So this one is, you're now at the D string at the 3rd fret and G, B, E at 5. Now just a D at 5. So. We're up to here. That's a little bit of a stretch, but you can definitely hear that when you listen to the isolated track. So that's the D string at 6 and G, B, and E at 10. Then move D string up to 7 and end on E. That's like your bar in E, but you got B and E open. So slowly. You're not hitting a full D minor chord on the second one. And I'm hitting G, D, G, B. That one I am hitting all 4 strings. This is the Stairway to Heaven part. George used this little thing quite a bit. There's a similar little run. Don't want to leave it now. No, I believe it now. Same thing. You're at the A minor here. Keep your D, G, G, D, G, B, and D strings covered at the 5th fret all throughout this little run. And you just walk down the D string starting at 7. 7, all through the day. Right? So 7 on the D, 6 on the D, 5 on the D, 4 on the D, to F major 7, that's an F with the high E open. So, all day, I'm in mind. And then it goes, that's just A, boogie woogie. Go up to D. Back to A. Now down to E. Now you're switching back to waltz time again. It's the same thing. A minor to A minor 7. D, G, E, A minor. Now it's the D minor walk up. The only thing I think that's different is at the very end of it, it ends on that instead of, he just keeps walking. That stays where it is. The G, B, D strings, G, B, and E strings at the 5th fret stay right where they are. So you end up with the D at the 3rd fret, and it just lingers on that chord and it ends right there. So great tune, and another interesting thing is it was originally much shorter. If you hear I got a million Beatle bootlegs, and that last verse wasn't in it. The whole song was like 1:25 or something like that. But they spliced out the last chorus and stuck another one in there to just make the whole song longer. But it was actually a really short tune when they first recorded it. A great song, and if you haven't listened to a lot of the Get Back, I mean that's what the album was originally going to be called, Get Back. But the Let It Be / Get Back sessions, there's tons of bootlegs. Somebody's posting, I don't even know who it is, but I subscribe to their channel. I apologize, whoever it is, because you're great. Your channel's great too. But they're posting a ton of Let It Be, Get Back outtakes, video and audio. I assume those are leaking out now because of they're doing the re-edit of the Let It Be movie, and they're gonna I guess release that. It was supposed to be this fall, but with COVID, everything's delayed. But yeah, they're leaking out a ton of those video clips and stuff from the rehearsals and from the recording sessions. Some fascinating stuff to listen to. So if you're a Beatle freak like I am, seek that stuff out. Good luck.